We see ourselves on Tomb of the Spider Queen with an Abathur. Normally the Slug, he's afraid of the spiders, but today ADRD and friends have the confidence to bring it out. It's a wild pick. We'll get into it a little bit and talk about some of the maybe pros and cons that can exist with this, but we're gonna start off with in the blue, down a game for North America is going to be Team 12. Blaze will be played by Goku, Cure on Genji, Justin playing Tyrael. We have Jaina played by Dansky, and Buds is on Rhaegar.
And on the red side, we have Zealots. Let's make some noise here with Mopsio playing the Garrosh, ADRD on Abathur, Zamani playing Leoric, Shad on the Stukov, and Chris on Gul'dan.
So I'm just gonna throw this out here. Just, you know, like, first off, let's start with this. In ANZ, do we see much Abathur on Tomb of the Spider Queen? Is that a unique kind of strategy you guys got within the region?
Nope.
All right, so then, I mean, why do we not see Abathur on Tomb of the Spider Queen? Generally, it's because of his lack of lane presence. It's a map that very much demands a lot of lane presence. You don't get too much effectiveness out of the global unless, or like the global soak feature, unless it's very, very late into the game. And we know Tomb of the Spider Queen can be a map that generally can pressure a little bit too hard to make up for that. But I really like some of the decision-making already made here by Zealots with the composition. They put a heavy amount of emphasis into wave clear. And if maybe they can snowball the map, get it pressured out against their opponents, that Abathur can really, again, kind of abuse that element. It just seems normally, when we see it, it's too weak in the earlier stages of the game to be able to deal with it. So I'm excited to see what Zealots can do to be able to hold that off.
Yeah, I really like the way you broke it down. You were saying the pros and the cons, but I also think as well, the way ADRD is going to build is really to accentuate and complement a lot of that frontline damage using the symbiote. So that's exactly kind of what I'm thinking. I was just saying, ADRD, it doesn't matter what map. If he sees that Abathur, that's his go-to pick. And
at level 1, he did end up committing to the mines. So if we have the assumption that, you know, it's going to be that mine-oriented build and really kind of being problematic in the rotations, having a lot of wave clear there with the Gul'dan and Leoric, and if we see that snowball and opening of the map, in particular, both top and bottom lanes are heavy focus for that. The rotations of Team 12 will be very, very limited. And we saw in the last game, whenever Team 12 fell behind, I mean, obviously it was probably a bit more than we can expect in this game, but when they fell behind without a macro advantage, it very quickly, you know, kind of got overwhelming. They completely consumed the map for Zealots. So if that happens once more, the Abathur is really going to enforce that, and I feel like crippled Team 12.
Yep, and Team 12 do not want to be in that position again. They were just on the back foot of that. They know what it felt like. And this is them, you can see, regrouping. The draft already feels so much stronger by them. Something a little bit, I guess, more expected. And something that I think we'll see them hopefully have some success with in these fights that break out.
Yeah, I think that if they're going to be successful, a lot of that pressure is going to be on the Jaina there. Dansky is the guy who really clutches it out for Team 12. I feel like he has been a rising star within the North American scene for so very long when he started back on Team Freedom, and he continues to do so here for Team 12.
I really love watching Dansky play. I mean, even yesterday when he was willing to take the Abathur, solely being the tank player normally that we saw, it was just something really fun to see. But okay, there's a lot of damage coming on out now. With Mopsio being forced to back off, Garrosh always deceptively low.
Good attempt there to get some kind of punishment from Team 12, but yet to find themselves a kill. Jaina slow, and the smite was not enough to change the relevant movement speed for them to be able to get those kills. But if we see a bit more of that kind of focus and rotation coming out from Team 12, where you see them clumping as a 5-man. Zarmany was comfortable still dealing with his own in the bottom lane. Abathur was able to deal with that up on top, and that's kind of that almost dependence on the death ball that I feel like Zealots is drafted into. They're depending on that composition to really clump it up, really group together. And the Abathur, I think, is going to be a problem. I can't emphasize enough that I feel like Team 12 needs to make sure that they get this first Web Weaver phase, or at least if Zealots get it, they get a kill and then is able to clear the Web Weavers without the map opening, both on bottom and on top.
And I mean, look at the positioning coming out as well. Ooh, Mopsio, nice throw there, followed up by the silence. That's some good comms coming out. Justin, he's still getting silence. He's so low. Luckily, though, team is on hand, and this is going to take it back.
It's going to come down from the bottom lane and actually get the jet propulsion lockdown. Mopsio flips him on the other side, but it's just going to allow him to get the body block. 2 kills here for Team 12, and they immediately nope up right up to this Web Weaver turn-in. Nice use of the Abathur hat, actually going to get the delay there onto that top wave, and then Zarmany comes back to life. Buds is slowed there by the skeletal swing, with no kill to be gained there. Very creative use of the Abathur hat there to be able to get that stall. That was well done by ADRD. It really stopped the momentum, that stopped the Web Weaver phase, which is, again, I've been bringing it up, that is problematic if Team 12 does not get momentum on these structures in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you summarize it so nicely, and ADRD, he's just showing us, I guess, the depth of knowledge that he has with that hero. It's such a creative application right there coming on out. Really impressive. And like you said, so importantly, by stalling that turn in. Let's see now, another fight breaking on. You can see Team 12, they really want to get that turn and start getting the ball rolling for themselves.
Blaze is trying to make a transition upward, but he doesn't have enough gems to get a turn in on bottom. Kira actually used his disengage and swift strike. Zarmony, not enough crowd control or damage to be able to get that. Goku, it seems like there's so much focus for both these teams on this top turn-in that it's going to be up to Goku, I think, in that bottom lane to make sure he gets enough gems and focus on the turn-in. Chris gets out too far. He's going to be into the frayed, into a nice position for the team. Now Buds is going to get tossed back. No knock up there from Mopsio. And the turn-in is here now for Team 12 as that top Webweaver turn-in is secured by Kira.
Here we go. Finally, Team 12 looking to get some momentum, looking to get some experience out of this. And that kill pressure will definitely be there, but I'm telling you, the kill pressure instead comes out on Genji.
So it's just got a kill at the absolute most crucial time, right as the map objective is going to be spawning. And Team 12 losing out the Genji and losing these 50 gems, or at least maybe not getting as much as they obviously would if they had the Genji. That is devastating. Number one, because, again, the problem that is going to be the Abathur. Number two, because North America compared to Europe is just weaker at getting value out of our gems. We absolutely get less structures, less experience than by far the European region. But I want to bring to light this pressure towards the bottom lane. This is a bit different than we generally see out of North America, and I feel like this is a far better decision-making from Team 12. If they can capitalize on pressuring out this fort, taking out the mid-front wall, they can really abuse this death ball composition to die. But Shad, after they get out too far, has a lurking arm to turn things around. Genji goes in, he's going to get reset one. Dainsky gets a heal for Buds, keeps himself up. Mopsio has all the armor in the world, but it's not enough, and Team 12 get another pick.
I love the way Team 12 came in. They turned something that looked so dangerous and really turned it into 2 kills that they netted for themselves, grabbing that fort. And like you said, a lot of that was because of the pressure that they decided to put on that bottom lane. Yes, they lost Genji. The push should have been already a lot weaker to get to start with, but instead by focusing the resources down onto that solo laner, it then forced Zealots to be like, hang on, why aren't you guys backing off?
Normally, if a team's going to try and capitalize on the weakness of the bottom lane and be very aggressive with that, it's after breaking mid and then trying to abuse the flank between both mid and bottom there. So Team 12, without opening up that middle lane, it was a bit easier to respond for Zealots, but still, the lurking arm over the wall from Shad. He's really putting on a clinic here for the Stukovs. Many Stukovs have shown here through the Western Clash, but I can't help but feel like Shad's performance is a bit underrated there on that hero.
Oh, Shad, he's so amazing to watch. I was just saying as well earlier that Shad, we've seen him prioritize Stukov pretty much more than any other player here at the Western Clash, and it's so strong in his hands. The silence is so well timed every time I just see him. But what I also want to draw attention to is that we've got enough gems on the side of Zealots. 10 has also been acquired by both teams. Now Zealots, if they're able to get a kill, you can definitely see that they'd want to prioritize that, but Boss as well now becomes a bit of a factor. Tyrael
is yet to pick his heroic. I wonder if there's an opportunity. Nice flip. Mopsio, the lurking arm is there, and it's not enough to keep him alive. That is a great kill here for Zealots. The team trying to get the response, but it was not quick enough. And that was, in fact, Sanctification locked in there for Tyrael. Maybe a telling wish they had a bit earlier. Now Mopsio with the armor flips over Buds. The Abathur hat's going to heal him up. And look at that damage output. The response there is enough. Team 12 get a counter kill onto Mopsio.
Mopsio falling now, it just creates a lot more space on the side of Team 12, and I really like it. Every time they see him down and out, you know, something didn't really go their way, they manage to then equalize it. And that's, I guess, something that can't always be said, right?
I mean, yeah, you're very much correct. It is not going to be. Sorry, I was trying to. I got distracted by the fact that we do have the water elemental was the choice here. This is a bit more of a North American flavor. There's been a lot of conversations here about Jaina's. Do we go with the Ring of Frost? Do we go with the Welly? And I'm just excited to see, you know, if it does make it to those later stages that are problematic. Zarmony not connecting there with that Entomb. That, you know, maybe get that Winter Mute. And, you know, Mike Udall, the argument he put up before as it can 1 versus 5. We'll see if it's going to be the case here for Team 12.
I'm scared. Zarmony's hanging around, and he's got barely any health, but a lot of gems to drop.
Mopsio is going to get the retreat, but he's already, after losing the Tyrael, it's too little, too late. Shad now trying to pull away. This choke is so very easy to be able to get the body blocks. Forces the Horrify from Chris. It's enough to be able to get out of the oil spill from Goku. Webweavers are going to be backing up the members of Team 12, and this is really where they're going to be able to open up the map. ADRD, he realizes that quickly, and he has to scoot his little slug of booty over.
Still no turn-in from the side of Zealots. This is now the second turn-in that we're seeing on the side of Team 12, with 13 looming as well. They're in a very, very nice position.
the bottom web weaver was not prepped in an area to where they can generally capitalize as much as maybe you normally would like to, and typically you can get them keep front wall up on bottom after taking up this mid fort and then cycle through for a top fort up on, or top fort afterwards. Mobzio made the transition to be able to deal with that, and so really mid web weaver phase and top are going to be the only things that Team 12 can capitalize. Again, I would argue that that comes down to the decision making over their first web weaver phase and the advantages that they kind of had, but it was crippling because Zealots getting key kills whenever the objective seems to be picked up for Team 12.
And like you said, when they do get those kills, you've got that Abathur working behind the scenes to then make sure that any of that gap is slowly being patched up. But this is what I was expecting Team 12 to do and make that boss play. As I said, it became a factor. They still do not yet have 13 on the side of Zealots, so I feel like they're banking on them getting it before any bosses check. But look, Zealots sense something might be up.
But everybody has gone through the minion wave, so Team 12 knows that this is going to be contested. Horrified just came off cooldown, and Chris is now in a terrible position. Nice into the fray from Mobzio, as that was at Welly and Tomb and the bunker all dropped at that point in time. Nobody's going to go down quite yet. ADRD ended up using the clone here, going to throw out a couple of corruption to rid of this boss. But Team 12, you know they're going to be looking minimum keep front wall here.
They are, and this boss is starting to get escorted in. So with that front fortification down, this is where stuff becomes scary. If any kills do fall, they could potentially make a core call.
Wow, getting out too far in the crowd control onto Zarmany. The boss has got the follow-up, and he's going to go into Ghost Form. Sanctification use, maybe not necessary, but Justing and friends playing it a bit safe here. 16 Talonsiers nowhere to be found for a while, even if after the keep falls. And they need to be careful not to overextend here. Zarmany is going to be spawning in a little bit under 15 seconds. There's the slow. You can see Zealots want to try and force this fight. There's the knockup. Not going to be able to get in range for the flip. Zarmany chasing down another skeletal swing. Vandy, do you think they're going to get this?
I don't know. I mean, they're chasing hard. They want to engage now.
Into, there's the bunker.
Comes out.
Silence is going to be dropped right underneath. Chris trying to get the damage out. He still has the opportunity. Drops the Horrify. Splits. Ancestral doesn't connect. And Blaze is going to fall. Zealots brilliantly using that Leoric to the ghost form into human form into the fray and entomb. The synergy between Zealots on an individual level is outstanding.
They work so well as a team, as well as that lurking arm as well in the entomb. It's like Leoric already had his Storm Talon. How good is that?
It's just ridiculous what they were able to have happen there. And now they're going to have the Web Weaver face. We see them backing out, looking to pick up their own knights. And this is, I mean, really the moment where Zealots kind of need to just keep forcing and throwing themselves at the members of Team 12, because losing that top keep and being so structurally disadvantaged, they really can't let up. They need to find a way, open up a couple of areas, get the 16 and look to force. Cure finds ADRD, and that is good night to the slug.
ADRD!
It was one of those moments where right as the pressure gets there, he thinks he's going to be safe. He looks elsewhere on the map, and then all Cure has to do is wait till the symbiote happens, because Cure can kill faster than the symbiote into any kind of retreat is possible. ADRD out means that much like the first Web Weaver phase for Team 12 now getting the kill on the Zealots. The Zealots can't do that much with it, even worsened by the fact that 16 Talonsiers there onto their side.
Well, you can see as well, Cure was postured down the bottom. As soon as ADRD showed himself, he kept hanging around to wait for that moment and opportunity. So it sets him back a little bit. He is going to respawn now. And with the Web Weaver phase, I mean, they're not really getting, I guess, as much out of it as they would have liked.
It's not going to be an optimal situation for them, but it's not all hope is lost. There's still a lot of gems in the hands of Zealots, and normally when we see kind of those late game struggles and you see the Web Weaver phase go out, you're like, well, this is going to be the end. You have no win condition available, but not the case here for Zealots. They need the 16 talent here. We're only sitting at 10 more gems for Team 12, and it's very realistic that they will have that before Zealots can stall it out for the 16s. And so it's going to be, how well can we see Zealots move past the objective and then force, which last time we saw that they were very, very successful. So I'm hopeful for the defense.
Well, as you said, they're getting those kills when it matters most. That's Zealots right there. And I mean, I guess that also does kind of add that pressure onto them. I feel like Zealots are a team where when they are sort of backed into a corner, that's when they really do shine the most.
Not enough gems going to be here quite yet, but dropping all these gems off just reduce any opportunity to be able to lose them. It's just safe turn in there.
It's just like storing your pennies for a rainy day.
Just throwing it in the bank. Welly is going to be used to get the chase down onto Zarmany. It's not too long of a cooldown, nor is it that detrimental. Now we see the slow on a Chris. Daneskin friends don't get the initiation they desire, but they still are going to be able to get a Web Weaver attempt before the 16. It's pretty close.
It's very, very close. And I mean, with that,
Blaze has it on bottom.
Oh, Blaze, yes, he's going in down for that turn-in. There's enough, exactly. Mopsio, he figures out what's up, but it's not going to be quick enough to go for the interrupt. Now there is another Web Weaver phase going on, and I'm scared because of that top lane, that exposed Keith.
Yeah, I'm very much scared as well, and especially if we end up seeing Justin dropping here. He's very, very low. Massive Shove is going to push him away into Bud's Ancestral Healing. Zarmany uses the skeletal swing, eats a jet propulsion from Goku. ADRD Clone and the Leoric are going to go ahead and go into Ghost form. Webweavers on top do have a catapult behind them. All of Zealots make the transition to be able to deal with this. Interesting decision-making coming out from Team 12, thinking that they're going to make the transition towards top as if this is their win condition. Oh, but if Chris overextends...
You can see they're trying to get through that lurking arm silence. Shad, he is slow, trying to get away and disengage. And you can see Team 12, they're not willing to take that fight under the core. Not yet.
We have 7 more seconds until they're going to have the Leoric. The shielding on the core is already going to be dropped. Sanctification is available, so they need to find a way to be able to stop this. There's Team 12 clumping up, grouping up together. Sanctification 70% and counting. There goes the bunker. Nobody going to drop yet. And it looks like Team 12 have found a way to earn themselves a victory on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Very well played by those guys right there. And I mean, I love the decision making